Tripping with Theo Bowl.
Come on, Dre.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Tripping with Theo Bold. I'm your host, Andre Theo Bold. Welcome to the show. Glad y'all could tune in. Boom, let's just get right to it, man. Yeah, so let me ask y'all something. When we were growing up, like back in my day, hustling meant working hard and proving yourself first. Now it seems like the internet has flipped the script. Attention first, value later. So this is the question. So here's what I'm tripping on, man. Is did the hustle actually change or did the software just update? Right? That's what we're gonna be talking about today, man. Because I see a lot of similarities, with or I see a lot of like similarities between social media and the hustle before the internet, you know? So like for example, I'm gonna take y'all back, man. I might be dating myself, but whatever. Back in my day, we had this thing called jump rope-a-thon, right? Where we had to go around to your neighbors and you had to you had like a little magazine booklet or whatever, and you had to go around and ask your neighbors to sponsor you for how many skips you could jump, or for an actual denomination for how much you could jump. So for example, if you wanted to uh like a basically a neighbor could sponsor you for like 1 cent per skip or like 5 cents per skip, 10 cents per skip, you know, and then you go out there and then you go to school, then you do the jump rope a thon, and then you have the actual teacher or whoever count, and then you go back around and then you collect your money, you know. And here's the thing, man. Like I always hated going around like from door to door, um, and asking people for stuff, man. Like that was not like that's not what I did. You know what I'm saying? That was not something that was ingrained in me. And I think the reason why that wasn't ingrained in me was because um I grew up in the old school era, right? In my era, it was and not even the era, it was just how I was raised, right? Like the way I was raised was um I basically um I grew up in like various environments. You know what I mean? I grew up where I might be at a babysitter's house one week. I might be at another babysitter's house following weekend. I might be at camp another week. So I was around a lot of like different people, and when you're around as a kid, bouncing around from different environments, like you don't want to like be a be a burden or hassle to nobody. You know what I'm saying? So you're naturally not going to you're naturally not going to want to ask for shit. You know what I mean? Like y'all remember the movie The Pursuit of Happiness, where there was that one scene when they were in the store and the and Jaden basically was in the candy shop or the store, and he wanted a candy bar, and he was really apprehensive for asking for a candy bar. Like that was me growing up, like I really wanted it, but I didn't know how to let people know. And if I did, you know, it's like it's like you got that I want something look, you know, like growing up, you got that I want something look. And I kind of grew up in that era where it was, oh, it looks like you want something, huh? Hmm? You want something? Get that look of hope off your face because you ain't getting it, right? Like that's like how I interpreted things as a kid growing up, you know? So naturally, it was hard for me to like go door to door and to ask for stuff. But I did it, and it was like I never really thought about what I was really doing, or how the marketing behind all that stuff kind of worked. You know what I mean? Um, so there's a similarity between like when you look at social media now and what kids did before the internet. Like a lot of kids now, are like privileged. Like I don't want to sound like that old nigga, but like a lot of kids grew up privileged, man. You know, like they can ask for anything and they don't mind being told no, or they don't mind being like, you know, yelled at. But it's like they have no problem asking for stuff without demonstrating works or um or what's the corporate thing I learned, right? Or they didn't really have to learn how to appeal to what's in it for the other party. You know, you just go around asking, right? Which I think I struggle on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I'm getting better, but I mean, I'm trying. You know, but let's take a look at, like, for example, Girl Scout cookies, right? Like Girl Scout cookies, you know, the what's in it for them is, people like how the cookies taste, even though they bad for you. People like how the cookies taste, so it's a product that sells itself. You know, um, but like doing jump rope-a-thon or what's the other one, mathathon. When you go door to door, like there's no incentive for the other person to sponsor you. You know, like you're just operating off of the sheer will of or the sheer generosity of other people. You know, like no product is being sold. It's just really, it's kind of like a guilt trip if you think about it, right? Like when it comes to like jump rope-a-thon and mathathon versus, Girl Scout cookies, right? Like Girl Scout cookies, it's, what's in it for the other party is you get food that tastes good, right? But jump rope-a-thon, the other person giving you money to sponsor you to skip rope, like there's no incentive for the other person. Really, it's like, as an adult, if you're sponsoring a kid for doing or to do jump rope-a-thon, really it's kind of like I said, it's like a guilt trip, because what's happening is that adult might be like, yo, if I don't sponsor this kid and he doesn't, or if they don't like work out, and if they become like fat or whatever, or unhealthy, and then they have health issues down the line, I may have played a part in that, right? All I had to do was get this little dude, 10 cents to go jump rope, per skip. And I was too cheap, right? So that's kind of like playing on people's guilt, I think. Maybe I'm tripping, but this is why the show was called Tripping with Theo Bowl, because we be tripping in speech and in thought, So anyways, like I said, I wasn't really geared for like asking for stuff, man. And here's the thing, right? I'm not trying to diss the internet. I'm not trying to diss YouTubers. I'm not trying to diss salesmen. It's a skill, but it's like part of the skill is understanding human psychology, and I think a lot of like people that know how to sell stuff, they get the psychology of it. They understand, cause look, I had this thought, right? If you don't know where every second of your time goes, and if you don't know where every cent of your money earned goes, it's bound to get hustled, right? It's low hanging fruit, right? And that's what salespeople are trained to do, right? They're looking for low hanging fruit, you know. Um, and once they get you hooked, then there's like levels to it, you know. So then what else, man? You know, what else is like I'm drawing a. You know what else is pretty similar to is um. So look, I don't want to sound bad. I don't want to sound messed up, but one of the most annoying things on YouTube that I see is or are people doing reaction videos, like people watching other people do this and just watching what's going on. Like that shit is annoying, because it's like, what are you contributing to the video, right? Now I could see if you had like a small clip and you played it and you were analyzing it and you were stopping it, and then okay, there's back and forth and you're adding knowledge and context to the video. But some people just be doing their chores, doing this shit, just watching. and you watching them do their chores while they watching that shit is annoying, right? So to me, what that's similar to is that similar to this to the hustle of the hood kids getting dropped off in the suburbs to peddle old candy, you know, because like when I lived in Orange County, you know, they had it was funny to watch, but look, they got me too, you know. But anyway, I lived in Orange County. I lived in Lake Forest, which was like 98% white, you know, and um I used to shop at this grocery store, and uh every now and again you see this van just get dropped off like maybe like a few blocks away, and you see these hood kids come out, you know, and they got the candy boxes and stuff, and you know, and they're going up to these like shoppers outside in the parking lot trying to hustle that candy. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not really selling nothing, you know? I mean they are, but they aren't, you know? Um but like they're using like they're just basically trying to peddle past history, you know, like literally, right? So for example, I got by one of these kids, you know, like they'll come up to you and they'll be like, "Hey, my name is so and so. Hey, and we're, you know, we're on an AAU basketball team and we're trying to raise money. Like we're trying to raise like, you know, $20,000 or how much it was. We're trying to raise X thousand amount of dollars so we can afford to go play in our championship in Florida next week. You know, would you like to help us contribute? Would you like to buy some candy?" And I'm like, "All right, cool, bet." You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, let me go ahead and, you know, I got a 20 on me. Let me go ahead and you know, donate for a worthy cause. Man, you know, as soon as you give them the 20, they give you like they give you like either you can get candy or coupons, right? And man, they had some old Three Musketeer bars, man. Like they had the joints from the 80s. Like I ain't never seen a Three Musketeers bar in the white wrapper since like the late 80s, early 90s. You know what I'm saying? So they got this old candy, and then or you could get coupons, and the coupons were like filmy, you know, like it had that greasy film, like it came from the 80s, you know. So you give them, so you see it, you be like, man, you know what? I'm good, man. I'm just trying to help y'all reach y'all goal, right? And I gave the dude $20, and as I gave him $20, I looked down, he had a cast on his foot. I'm like, yo, how you gonna hoop in the championship next week? He's like, hey, have a nice day. See you later. I'm like, oh man, I got hustled. Right? It's the same shit with these people that do reaction videos, right? They're piggybacking off of someone else's shit, and then you either contribute time or money in the case of the candy, and you just gave away your time for nothing, you know? So that's to me, there's a similarity with that, you know. Then what else, man? Then you got like in the mid 90s, man, like you had the whole maybe like early 90s, you had the multi-level marketing boom, right? Where you had like the Mary Kays, and you had you had the quick stars, and then you had the knife niggas, you know, you had all these different like pyramid scheme shits, right? And to me, those two, like, they're slightly different, but there's a common thread with all this, right? Um, so from a multi-level marketing scheme, for those of y'all that don't know or haven't heard of it, basically your friends would um get hooked by somebody else that sold them, hey, you can be rich if you do this. And then next thing you know, you're trying to get your other friends to come and, you know, buy your product or subscribe to whatever, you know, shit you selling. And then whatever they sell, you get a cut of that. So the higher up you are in the pyramid, the more money you get. The whole point is you want people underneath you you want to get more people underneath you so you can get more of what they make, right? So if you don't get in on the in the work, if you don't get in like in the window early, it's like you just basically wasting your time at that point, you know? So social media is not quite cut out like that, but from a psychological standpoint it is, you know, because we got to talk about followers and subscribers, right? Like basically, you know, I've done work or I've done like shows, like comedy shows with people that have like over a million like followers or subscribers, you know? And the psychology is the more numbers you have, the more weight you have, and therefore, you don't have to do. It's like a trade off. You know what I mean? So, for example, I remember I did a show with this one. With I did a show, and this one guy had like over like 2 million like followers on one platform or whatever it was. He was like a real big deal. Um, he wasn't funnier than me, but that's besides the point. Anyways, he had a huge following. So when it came time to promote for the show, what I noticed was I looked at all the other comedians on the show, and nobody promoted the show. You know, nobody had it on their page, no one had it up or anything. But the producer was hounding me, like beat like they were in my DMs, just, hey, why aren't you promoting the show? Why, hey, we need you to put it on your Instagram. You need to do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And then uh I was like, okay, cool. But when I looked at the numbers, my numbers are nowhere near what other people's numbers were. So I'm like, I get it, I get it, I get it. Right. Basically, it's like when I was on this show, yeah, I'm funny, right? I may have been like one of the funniest people. I'm not here to say whether I was the funniest person or not, but because my numbers weren't like what other people's numbers were, um, I guess that this promoter felt like they could get on me more to promote the show, where they weren't gonna get on the people that had over 1 million followers, because all that person had to do is say, you know what, I'm not doing the show, you know? And then they miss out on the potential people that would have came to the show because of how many followers they have, or if they reclip it up and post it, this person could take this clip and post it and put it to all their followers, right? So there's that mental hierarchy that is built with that, right? Like I remember like my dad, man, he was big into all them joints, man, like Quick Star, all that shit. And I remember there was one person in Quickstar that made it to become an Emerald member that he knew. And they had these tier rankings, right? It's like there's Emerald, there's Diamond, I forgot all the other ones, right? Like Gold or whatever it was, Platinum. And basically, once you reach this status, that meant that you were basically a millionaire, right? Like you were making $1 million a year. So I remember like my dad was trying to get to the Emerald level that this guy was at, and he brought the dude to the house, and my dad was real subservient to this dude, man. Oh, this is so and so. He's an Emerald member. Hey. Like he was like treating this dude like he was a king. And I was looking at this dude, I was like, man, something smell fishy, man. Like, yo, come on, man. So like, I was trying to learn more about the business, and I was trying to like learn more about, um, I was trying to like learn more about just the operation of the whole like social media, not social media, the whole multi-level marketing thing. So me, I like to see results, right? So I was like, hey, yeah, here you're an Emerald Club member, that means you make $1 million a year, right? I was like, you got a pay stub or you got a check stub I can see. And the guy kind of like smirked at me and kind of started laughing. And man, my dad was cussing me out. He's like, Dre, no, don't do that. No, we can't make him upset. Right? The same mentality, right? With social media followers and people that don't have a following, right? It's like once you have a big number on social media, like in terms of following, it's like you kind of become king, right? And people want to know what it is that you did, so they're not trying to rock the boat, they're not trying to upset you. So really, it's like you know, um, they kind of, I don't want to say they, but really, it's like there's a hierarchy in the ecosystem of how people like think, or who has weight and who doesn't, right? So you got that. Um, Also, you know what else too, man? I think arcade games, like video games, old school arcade games are like, or are similar to social media in a sense, right? Like back in my day, right? I don't want to be that dude, but I guess I am that dude, right? But back in my day, man, I remember going to the arcade, and playing the game and just having a good time. And then when you feel like you had a good game, where the game was uh right, if you had a good enough game, the game would say, "Hey man, you did real good. Hey, put your name down so you can have it in the top score or in the top score list." Right? So you put your name in the top score list and then you come back a week later, your shit is off and it's like people got like crazy scores. Like how are people getting these scores? Like what are you doing? Like what's going on? Like how is this how is this even happening? You know what I mean? So that's that's to me that's similar to how to the whole follower subscriber game, right? Like you got some people, I have no idea what they do to get the number of subs or followers that they have. And I'm not hating. Hey, like I'm just saying it's mind-boggling, man, that wow, this person can get 900,000 followers, and it's like, man, is he is there some kind of rocket science that he's doing? Like what's the trick, And it's kind of the same thing with like the arcade games, right? Like back in the day with arcades, it's like, yo, how are people getting these super high, ridiculous scores and y'all playing the same shit, you know? So lots of similarities, man. So to me, what has really changed? What has really changed, right? Um, that's the question. If you got an answer, put it in the comments, man. Let's have a chit chat about it. What else we got? What else, man? I was thinking about this too, right? Um, when it comes to like going door to door, right? Like I said, the way I grew up pretty like strict compared to kids nowadays. Um, I remember when I was young, when it snowed, I had to go outside and I had to shovel the snow. I had to shovel the sidewalk and shovel the snow. And my mom would be like, "Hey, while you out there, get Miss Supley's driveway. You know what I'm saying? Get her driveway and her sidewalk. Throw down some salt. You know what I mean? But the catch was, it was like my mom said, look, if you do it, if she gives you anything, like turn it down. Don't ask for nothing. Don't take nothing. Right? Like that was the whole message. Just do it out of the goodness of your heart. So I would go over there and I would shovel Miss Supley's driveway, and get the sidewalk cleaned up and put salt down and everything. And then Miss Supley would come out and she would either try to give me some money, or she would try to give me some cookies or something. I'm like, no, Miss Supley, I can't take it. I'll get in trouble. And then she'd be like, oh, no, take it, right? And then she'd be like, no, I said take it, right? And then she would like give it to me or whatever. And then I had to, I would take it. But the fact is, what that ingrained in me was, doing shit for free or being nice, which is, it's cool to be nice every now and again, but you also got to like know your value. You got to be able to know your value and you got to be able to throw your weight around. Um, Now the new kids coming up that are in my mom's neighborhood, they come around, they charge $50, and my mom will call me and then complain to me about how much they charging. And I'm like, what do you want me? I mean, like, what do you want me to do? You know, I should have been doing the same shit. You know, I should have been doing the same thing, you know, going around and, because it teach. So at the end of the day, it's like where I'm getting at is when you're trained from a young age to not just ask for stuff, but ask for stuff because you know what your value is, you know, it just, I think it makes you freer to where now when you're in the social media age, you can post stuff freely. You can go up and ask for, like, you can, like, it's no problem to put stuff out because it's like you're used to asking for stuff, and it's not bad to ask, it's just, what's the psychology behind how you ask, if that makes sense, you know? So like I said, I'm like I'm trying to get out of that circus flea mentality, right? Like if you don't know what a circus flea is, basically in the circus they would put fleas in a jar, and they put the lid on, they pop holes in there to make sure that there's oxygen coming in, and then what they would do is like the fleas would try to jump out the jar, but it would keep banging its head on the top of the jar, and after about a week or so they take off the lid. Now the fleas won't jump out the jar. They're just going as high as the top of the jar. that's kind of like how I am right now. I'm working on trying to get out the jar, but it is what it is, you know? So, yeah, I be thinking a lot about this social media stuff, man. It's very interesting. Like a lot of it looks new, but a lot of the underlying like mechanisms and core, in my opinion, is like it's damn near the same, right? Now now there's more freedom to start up your own business or to be creative with what it is that you're selling, right? Like before in the 80s or whatever, they had everything was more concrete, like jump rope-a-thon, Girl Scout cookies. Um, even look, even trick-or-treating is a form of sales, if you think about it, right? Even trick-or-treating is a form of sales, right? Basically, what you're doing is you're going around dressed up as something to entertain the neighbors, and in response, like they're not giving you more candy based off of how good your costume is or isn't, but the fact that you're going to the door and providing a mini service of entertainment, there's a transaction of candy that comes back, right? So even that is a form of like sales, right? Like as a kid, we just are like, hey, we just trying to dress up to go get some candy, Um, and that's why, some neighbors are like, or a lot of neighbors are like, yo, if you're not dressing up, I'm not giving you no candy. It's like, hey, this is a service, you know? So, um, but yeah, these are just some of my thoughts, man. Just to me, it's interesting, just understanding the psychology of sale. Cause look, when it comes to the social media shit, YouTube, Instagram, all that, even stand-up comedy, it's all sales. That's what I'm realizing. It is all sales, sales and marketing. And that's all it's and with sales and marketing, you have to like, it's a you gotta have that ruthless mentality. Like you gotta just not be afraid to like say or not to be you have to not be afraid to hear no. It's not even about hearing no. It's like I think with me, it's more of getting like scolded, you know, as far as like, how you just gonna go around and ask for this and ask for that and ask for this. But really it's like to me, that's like the first level or the first lesson in sales, right? Is you guys ask for the moon. Ask for the moon and sell air. If someone asks, "Hey, what are you selling? What are you giving me in return?" I'm giving you my presence. That's what I'm giving you, right? Like when you go to people and make sales, you got to be like, "Hey, when they say what's in it for me, hey, my presence is in it is what's in it for you." You can't say that, but you got to be thinking that. Um so now yeah, so now like I'm thinking like a lot about just when times I got hustled, like like at the end of the day, someone hooked you with something. When you bought something, you got hooked by something. Like I remember and let me go and give y'all this little quick story right quick, man, about how I got hooked, right? I remember where I just got out of grad school, and there was this chick that I was trying to holler at since like when I was in college, man. Um I'm not gonna get no names because names are not important. It's the lesson that we learn that is the importance, right? So um I remember there was this she was like a year older than me, I think, or like a she was like a she was like an upper she was a year higher my senior, right? If that's how you say that. Shit, I don't know how to say it, but basically when I was a sophomore, she was a junior, and then so forth and so on, right? But anyways, man, there was this chick that I liked back in college, and she would not give me the time of day, man. Like we were in the same math class. I wanted to try to go study with her, and she was like, "Nah." Like I'm like she kept giving me that little forearm shiver, like the soft forearm, right? Um, but yeah, she would go study with everybody else. You know what I mean? So I remember one day, she didn't come to class one day, And when I saw her on campus, she was like, "Hey, did you go to class?" I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Do you have the notes?" I was like, "Yeah, I got the notes. If you want to, I can come by. I can swing through. I can, I can fill you in on all the stuff that you missed." She was like, "Nah, just slide the notes under my door when you get a chance." So I was like, "Okay, cool, right?" So graduate from undergrad, go to grad school. I still have her number. We still have each other's like phone number and stuff. So I remember I'm in grad school and I'm just getting out of class. I'm driving home, and out of the blue, she just calls my phone, right? So I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "This is it. This is definitely it." Like in Ghostbusters, remember when Ray Stantz, when they got their first call, Ray Stantz was, "This is it. This is definitely it." Right? So, man, I picked up with the quickness. I tried to be cool. I'm driving on the phone. And she was like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" She was like, "Yeah, so what do you got going on Thursday night?" I'm like, man, she asked me about my time, about to get a date. Right? So she's like, "Yeah, hey, do you want to come through sometime? And, you know, I got this business opportunity, and, I was thinking we could sit down and chit chat over." I'm like, "Business? Yeah, let's do it." I was like, "Yeah." So I didn't say it like that, but in my mind, I said that. But man, I was like on the phone, I was like, "Yeah, let me check my schedule. Yeah, I think I have enough time. All right, cool." So, anyways, I'm thinking to myself, man, yeah, like she finally, like a lot of time, like in that, what's that Frankie Beverly song, Timing? Like a lot of times you gotta wait your time. You gotta wait your turn, right? And I'm like, "Hey, it's my time." So I pull up to her crib, man, or her apartment. I go in there, man. It's a whole bunch of niggas in this apartment, man. It's like a convention in that bitch. I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" You know? So I go in there and you know, I saw I saw the nigga in the Cosby sweater. Here's how you know, look, if you ever been got by multi-level marketing or got sucked into someone's multi-level marketing bullshit, here's how you know, here's how you can spot the bullshit before you walk into it, right? It's gonna be a nigga in a Cosby sweater, right? It's gonna be a bowl of chips, and it's gonna be a DVD or a VCR, and those are the things. When you see those things, you see a whole group of people in this environment that you've been invited to, run. Cause I saw this one chick, I guess it was a homegirl, and she came in and saw it, and she was like, she just came in and she had a look of disgust on her face. And she said, "Yeah, I'm out." And I was like, "Oh, interesting." Right. So then the dude in the Cosby sweater sat down next to me and shit, and he started to like put like a little bug in my ear. He was like, "Hey man, what's your name?" He's like, "What's your name, man?" I'm like, "I'm Andre." He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm so and so, man. Nice to meet you." I'm like, "Yeah." Then he was like, that somehow he got me talking about my dreams and shit. He was like, I was like, "Yeah, man, one day I want to own a professional sports team." He's like, "Yeah, me too. This is why we're here. We're here to talk business." And look, I'm gonna give a presentation in a second, but he said, "Look, afterwards we're gonna talk because this is the foundation of building for that dream of owning the sports team that you want to own." I was like, "Cool, bet." And then he started talking, and then more people left, right? And then once they sold the service, which was bullshit, by the way, like just the thing, it was hilarious, right? Like basically what they were selling was, I'm not gonna give the name because I don't want this person to watch this video and to be like, "Yeah, I'm still on this shit." But when I remember I posted something on Facebook like years ago, this person saw it and was like, "No, it's a good business. I'm still in it." I was like, "Nah, it's bullshit. Nah, this ain't it." But anyways, what it was what they were selling was, they would tell you to, basically what they wanted you to do was they wanted you to go to your friends and ask them to switch their phone service, right? Their cell service. And what happened is, if you switch your cell service, basically, um, you got a cut of, basically you lower their bill, but you got a cut of their money too at the same time, right? And the natural response or the natural thought would be, "Hey, if you can cut my bill down for me, why can't I cut it down myself? Right? I didn't think to ask that, but that's the hustle. But anyways, once the game was put out for the people to kind of hear, people just kept leaving, right? And it just ended up being me, the chick, and the dude that was like the lead speaker or whatever, right? And the chick was kind of still sitting there, like the girl I went to school with. She was kind of like looking like she was kind of looking defeated. But I was thinking to myself, man, I can win her, man. I'm trying to get this chick, man. So the guy was like, yeah, all you gotta do is sign up, man. And he said, look, it costs $500 to start up. And matter of fact, I don't even want you using your own money. I want you to use your credit card because I'm gonna show you that you can get your money back. And I was like, cool, bet. Right. And then right when I got the pen and the paper to sign the shit, she man the chick had this look on her face where she couldn't believe it. She was like, and I should have caught that, but I didn't. I was like, nah. I'm like, man, I'm gonna get the chick, I'm gonna get the business, and I'm gonna own a professional sports team, you know? And then I started going to the meetings, and she would hit me up to go to the meetings. We would like go and meet up at the meetings or whatever. And it was all bullshit, man. It was that sick and tired of being sick and tired talk, you know? Like lead speakers talking about nothing, no business, right? When like the more questions I ask about the business, there ain't no business. Your business is going around asking other people to sign up under you, right? So, long story short, what happened was I quit, right? As I quit I basically tried. So, first I told my mom and dad about the shit, and they just were like, "Nah, man, this ain't it." Like when you tell people about a business that you done picked up from somebody else, and you trying to peddle for them, and people start doing this, and they get quiet, and they just like, "Nah, this ain't it." Right? Nah, nah. And the more I tried to get them to believe in the shit, the more it was, nah, this ain't it. Nah. So I was like, yeah, nah, this ain't it. So I went downstairs to my study, and I called the dude that I signed up with, and I was like, hey man, I was like, yeah, I don't think this is for me, man. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just back out. And at first he was so positive. He was like, nah, man, it's just a bump in the road, man. Like he was I don't know why, but he kind of reminded me of like Terrence Howard. He was like, nah, man, just hang in there, man. You got it, man. Just, you're gonna hit a bump in the road one day. And like, that's what life's about. Life is about ebbs and flows. And right now, you just gotta hang in there. And I was like, yeah, but nah. He's like, nah, man, you got it, man. I believe in you. I believe in you, man. Like, man, he's like, man, we both gonna get the professional sports teams. You gonna own the Wizards. I'm gonna own this team. And then we gonna have parties. We gonna look back on this day and we gonna laugh about this little bump in the road. And I was like, yeah, nah, this ain't it. And I was like, man, I don't mean no disrespect, man, but now that he just flipped it. He just flipped the switch. He just flipped. He was like, yeah, you know what, man? He's like, this ain't for you, man. He was like, yeah, man, you're gonna struggle for the rest of your life. I'm gonna go ahead and give you money back, but don't ever call me again. Don't waste my time. Don't waste people's time. You know, you're in it to be like everybody else. And the people that aren't in it, to be like everybody, like, look, end of the day, he was like, look, man, you ain't gonna make it. Right. So here's your money back. Have a good day. I was like, damn. Right. So, um, so my whole point of telling that story was um just how everything is meant to hook you, right? Everything is meant to hook you. You know what I'm saying? And you got to watch out. Like I said earlier, right? If you don't know where every second of your time or every cent of your dollar goes, man, it's gonna get got. It's gonna get got. And good salespeople know how to sniff that shit out. That's what they do. You know, that's what they do. Right? It's kind of like my mom said this, right? My mom said this, and the more I think about it, she's right. She was saying how like how YouTube is nothing. She said YouTube is now the National Enquirer, right? For those that don't know what the National Enquirer is, right? Like anytime you went to a grocery store and you get in a grocery store line and you see all those crazy ads about all the Hollywood stars who just got a divorce or got extra kids outside their marriage or whatever, they would put it there and the font would be big and the whole shit was there to distract you, right? And if you notice, they put the National Enquirer right above all the candy and all the little knickknack shit that's overpriced, right? Because if you look at how much the candy and the chips cost here versus the volume price in the rest of the store, it costs more here. So they're trying to distract you with the headlines, right? And then you might see something in there that might make you think, oh man, I need this right now. Let me go and throw this in here, right? Like I never seen like I never I don't look every grocery store aisle that I've been in, the National Enquirer was always full. Like no one ever bought that shit. Like I never went home in my house or went to anyone's house and saw a National Enquirer sitting on someone's table ever, right? Because it wasn't the point, right? The whole point of the shit was to distract you to buy some more shit that probably costs more than the rest of the store, right? They're trying to nickel and dime you on the way out, right? But that's all YouTube is, man. Like YouTube has a bunch of, but it's YouTube is more crafty, right? Is based upon what you watch, they gonna give you more of that bullshit that you watch, you know? So it's like it's learning what you look at, right? So I use the premium YouTube. I pay my $19.99 a month because I like there's some content that is like really good content and I really get a lot out of it, you know? But if you got the free shit, you gonna be getting like you gonna get I mean, look, you're gonna get other like channels and things based upon like the algorithm and what you watch, right? But the whole point is that's why they have ads baked into this shit, right? So you're watching it, you're distracted by one thing, and then they're subconsciously saying, hey, look, now we're gonna plant this seed of this subconscious thing that we think you need. And next thing you know, you buying the shit. Same thing, right? Right? Same game, new hustle. That's all this shit is. It's a new hustle. It's not even new. It's the same game, right? But like I said, I mean, I'm not trying to disparage or hate on YouTube or YouTubers and stuff like that. I'm just giving you my perspective on how I see things, you know? Like I gotta put my sales hat on, right? Because believe it or not, from a young age, I was trained to be a poor salesman, right? And that's all this YouTube and internet stuff is, man. It's just instead of door-to-door salesman, it's computer-to-computer salesman, you know? What are you selling? Like what are people selling? Let's look at like for example, let's look at the Instagram models, right? The IG models, right? Like they don't even have to even beg, right? Like they don't have to like, well, I guess there's active begging and then there's passive. I don't like using the word begging, but let's just use the terms for right now, right? Right? There's actively begging and then there's passively begging, right? And when you look at the Instagram models that go to the gym and they put on all the tight workout pants and they show their butt cheeks in the clips and the thumbnails, right? To me, that's passive begging because what they're doing is they just don't want attention. They want followers. You know what I'm saying? So if people see the shit, they might be like, man, I see a pair of cheeks, man. I gotta follow these cheeks, right? So to me, I'm not even saying that they're gaming the system. It's just they know what sells, right? And they're passively taking advantage of that, right? Meaning that they can take a picture, shoot a video, and they don't really have to give you a personality with it. All they got to do is just show you the body and the shape, you know, and then people gonna follow, right? So everything is like, you know, everything is geared towards like marketing and finding a niche, you know, and finding like what your lane is and what sells. Like some people can sell other stuff like super easy because it's nothing to them, right? Right? That they take advantage of it. Some people have to really use their mouth and their words to sell something, right? Another example of this is like, for example, uh, this is like kind of like more like passive begging, but like for example, Robert Kiyosaki, right, with Rich Dad Poor Dad. That book was amazing. That's an amazing book. Like that book is like, it's like, to me, it's one of like the cornerstone literary pieces in like this century, because I mean, it's just the way it just breaks everything down, right? But as my dad said, he living off his past history. He's still living off that book, right? He's still living off Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? It's still branded as Rich Dad Poor Dad, you know. But when I like, he has like these games called like the Rat Race, and I subscribe. I basically bought all that shit, right? I bought the game to try to learn how to save money, and he had different like disciples that followed him that started off like they started a crypto channel and all these different things. But when I took a step back and looked at it, I'm like, oh, he's selling education. That's what he's selling. He's selling education. And if he's selling education, is he going to give you everything that you need to be successful, right? And that's to be determined, or that's yet to be determined. But at the end of the day, you know, he found a hook point, right? That's all, like sales and marketing, all this stuff. You got to find that hook point. And then if people just keep buying it and they keep like we all fish. You know, if a hook comes in the wall, if the same hook is catching the same fish, you're going to use the same hook. You're not going to change up. Like, why? Right? So to me, like I said, social media just repackaged everything different. And now it can be more granular, and now it can learn to specific people or specific groups of people, you know, to maximize the benefit of the seller, right? As opposed to in the past, everything was kind of predetermined. You know what I'm saying? So what are your thoughts? You know, is it the same game? Is it a new hustle? Put it in the comments. Let me know. That's all I got. So, without further ado, I'm out of here, folks. Peace. Yep. Tripping with Theo Bold.
Let's go.
Caliente.
Tripping. Yep. Tripping. Tripping. Tripping with Theo Bold.
Tripping with Theo Bold.